click, buy, deliver. With remote purchasing from the 2-time Motorcycle News Dealer of the Year, Colchester Kawasaki. Proud sponsors of Chasin The Racin.
3, 2, 1, and welcome back to Chasin The Racin, episode 120, and we're down at a beautiful coastal resort, probably the most beautiful track in the country, down at Anglesey in North Wales, and we're joined by Matt Layt. Welcome to the podcast. How are we doing?
Very well, thanks, boys. Thanks for having me.
I'm so glad you uncrossed your arms there. That was so tense of you. You were sitting there like, God, what am I doing here? I don't really want to be here. No.
Well, like I've said before, I listen to all the podcasts, massive fan, loads of different podcasts. And when I spoke with Chrissy the other day, and he said about, we just had a general chit chat about stuff that we've done. And he said about coming on. I thought, I'm not the man for that job. I'm just average Joe. I listen to it like your Josh Brookses and Ido, obviously, and hear all the boys. And I just thought, oh no, I can't. But then I thought to myself, you know what? I'm representing the listener. I'm here representing average Joe. So just showing I can tell him what it's like to be in here. And
what I'm looking forward to, though, is you're not an average Joe, and we're going to look into your past, and we're going to find out what you've been up to and all sorts, and all the criminal activities.
Very modest, plenty of that. Very modest of you. But I'll just start by we're down at Anglesey. It's the first time I've been here since 2010, and on a day like this, it's either one or the other. It's either absolutely lashing it down with sideways rain, and to be honest, even when it's like that, the track's so grippy that it's still enjoyable racing here. But when on a beautiful day like this, it's like being abroad, isn't it? It's like it's such a shame that it's not on the BSB calendar.
Yeah, amazing place. I'd never been here before, so came here, got up here last night, and didn't even walk the track. It was dark when we got here, so this morning went out, didn't even know where the pit lane was, didn't know anything, sort of went out and first session was a bit, I thought it's like a kart track, and then when I came in, Morris, who mechanics for me, he said, "Did you get to see the sea at all?" I said, "See, I struggled to see the track." I was like, it was on the slow down lap. Now you notice stuff like there's boats sailing, power boats, and you think, Jesus, this place is pretty special.
Yeah, and to be honest, everything I think the paddock's spot on. The garages are nice and spacious, big garages. All of the infrastructure is. I mean, the cafe went a beautiful lasagna for me, tea, and a full English breakfast this morning. Everything is
the race diet's coming on the treat.
Everything's spot on. I think there's 2 small problems for running a BSB meeting here, and I think the first one is the very last bit of the journey, the last probably half a mile into the track is very narrow, so it would have to be like a one-way system or build a bigger road.
Yeah, we had the same conversation on the way in last night, and you boys know every sort of track that the BSB goes to, even Cadwell, that's a decent road into it, Snetterton's a decent road, even like back to the Mallory days and stuff, but the only place where we used to go, which was similar to this, was Mondello. So, and it was quite a similar narrow road towards it. And have you been Mondello, Dom?
I have, on a C90.
Have you?
Oh, yeah.
I've never been there.
So, no, it was a brilliant track, and it was back at Supersport in the day. It was a good,
And I think the second problem from a commercial point of view is that if you think of the catchment area from any track, if you did like a 50-mile radius of the track, there would be like hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. Like say Brands Hatch, in a 50-mile radius, you've probably got about 20 million people in that area, where here, if you drew a big circle of a 50-mile circle, there's virtually North Wales is very densely.
I suppose it'd be good for the Irish, but like we've seen last year that with BSB, that it really does need to run with spectators. Yeah. So this would be one of them tracks, which I should imagine Stuart Higgs probably is one of the reasons they don't come here. For like you just said, you need to get the spectators to pay the money.
And just to let you know, if it does rain this weekend, this place is here, Pembury and Thruxton, 3 grippiest tracks in the UK. Really grippy. Like in terms of dry times to wet times, fully wet here, you're about 3 seconds off the pace. It is unbelievable. So just a little tip. So if it does rain this weekend, but what was your first?
If it does rain, me and Dom are going to curse you, Chris.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Because the forecast has been 18 degrees and dry.
Oh, that's a good thing.
A lot hotter than that today, mind. It was absolutely sweltering. It was bloody brilliant. Mm-hmm. There you go. But many a tyre choice. Everyone overcooking them and all sorts.
What was it like on the Twin here?
Yeah, pretty good to be fair. I should imagine it suits the Twin and 600s more than the bigger bikes, because for me, because we're running is it the coastal circuit they call this one?
With the corkscrew.
With the corkscrew,
that's
yeah.
outstanding. That mine. Does it look like
But
a
is
budget Laguna Seca?
That must be tight and twisty on 1,000. The last part of the track.
Oh God, it is good though. It is good. I've only been around here on 1,001, so coming back here again today, it is awesome. Like, it is brilliant.
Now the twin's good round here. To be honest, that's like start of the day off probably 10 seconds off lap record, next session 6 seconds, next session 4 seconds. I think we ended up about 1.8 off it. So
fair play, that man.
Chris Barnes has been the man on a mission today, so Dom's boss DC guy, so yeah, he's been on a mission today, so I think he'll be the man to beat this weekend. So
funny enough, I was just speaking to Chris before we recorded this, and I told him that you were coming on, and he was saying I can't remember if it was this year or last year or whatever, that he'd had a little crash on the bike, and he said you just ran in and started stripping down your spare bike to like get parts off it for him, and he just said there's not many people in the paddock that are like that. If you're sort of competing with someone and they're having some bad luck, your first where like you were just like doing everything you possibly could to help them out. Well,
that's the norm, isn't it? That's really to me that's the norm, and that's, like all the years I've been racing, the friends who I met, some of them who I met back in like 1999, whatever it was, club racing, we're still friends with now, and I'd like to think people would do it for me, and I have had people do it for me. So Stephen Thompson and loads of them.
Too many to list.
Yeah. But so that is, I think that's how racing should be, and obviously I've spent quite a few years at British Championships and different events, and to come back to club racing is, the last couple of 3 years has been absolutely brilliant, and that whole atmosphere is why you keep coming back here, isn't it? As people, as everyone here, you've got like 65-year-olds who've just started racing, and then you've got a 17-year-old who's mixing this with BSB, so there's a complete scale of everyone here. So, and I think you've got to help everyone out, haven't you? Keep everyone on track, and that's what it's about.
It's mega. You mentioned starting racing in 1999, was it?
I actually started racing. I was racing motocross, and I always wanted to go road racing. So, and basically I saw in the motorcycle news, it would have been 1995.
Yeah, I was born then.
Is it? Yeah. Cheers. And and there was a thing. There was a guy called Mick Walker, and his son had died the year before. So you can stop laughing now. But he was a famous author, Mick Walker. His son died in a start line crash. And he was he was a good 250 rider at British Championships, and then Mick Walker was running a team and in the Super Team Championship, I was reading the motorcycle news, and it said he was running an event at Brands Hatch, and he was going to pick a team for next year and all the rest of it. And I knew it was a Gary Walker Memorial meeting, so I went down there and ram-raided into the control tower where he was commentating, and said, "Can I come and have a go on the bike?" I was still a motocrosser at the time, and he was quite impressed. Yeah, we got past the security guard, and he said, "Yeah, of course you can. Come and have a go at Mallory." And yeah, then ended up doing a year in Super Team. That was the year Ellison and Chris Burns and Steve Brogan and Mark Heckles. There was a load of good riders in it. But coming from motocross, I knew nothing about it. I even remember going out Brands Hatch Indy, and it was raining, and I looked around and everyone's on wets, and I just thought, these boys have got it so wrong. They're riding on knobblies. I thought, what is wrong with them? So, and obviously I made it as far as Clearways, and then I was through the screen. So, but it was
that you were literally that green to.
Yeah, completely green to it. And I remember getting a lift to the Brands Hatch to that meeting with a guy called Dave Goodley, a good TT rider. You might have heard of him. And he went on to do endurance. He gave me a lift down there, and he said, halfway through, it was like the Saturday, and at the time Super Teams was run at BSB, and halfway it was like Saturday morning. He said, "Right, sorry mate, I've got to go. I've had a call up. I've got to go to World Endurance." So I was sitting in the paddock on my own with a bike, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
How old are you?
Yeah,
I'd have been about 18. So yeah, about 18 years old. So I phoned my dad up and said, "You need to hire a van." So I need a hand. So yeah, and then after that, sort of really started racing properly in 1999 on a 600 at club racing and New Era and not Thundersport. It was MRO then. So, but Dave and Bernadette were running it, and then 2001 ended up in they announced the British Superstock Junior Superstock Championship the first year, and went there and had a good year. But you don't realise till afterwards the guys you're racing against, and it was Ben Wilson won it. I think I finished fourth, and John Kirkham was in it. There was Craig Jones, Tom Sykes, Tommy Hill, Martin Finnegan. It was just a massive name, so of good riders, and it was a brilliant year, and really good for me.
Mm-hmm.
What, like, you know, when you first went into racing, and what results were you getting? I've just got this great picture of motocross, and you just saw an advert and went, that looks like a bit of crack.
No. What happened was, I'd wanted to do. There used to be cut a real long story short. There was a program used to be on called Wheels on a Friday night, like a Norfolk motorsport program, and they were at Snetterton, and I saw it on there, and I was like, oh Jesus, that's amazing. So I knew I wanted to do it. And then,
Right.
But then, then ended up my brother's friend, actually, his mum. They were going to Snetterton Market and said, "Oh, do you fancy tagging along?" And I went there, and I remember watching. I sort of sneaked through the market and sneaked across the field to watch the racing from the outside, and Matt Llewellyn and Chris Walker were battling away. Matt Llewellyn was on a superbike, Chris Walker on a 250, and that was it. I thought, right,
it's a bit of me, this.
Yeah, we're doing it. And then, like, whatever it is, 25 years later, I'm still sitting in a paddock somewhere, sitting in a trailer in Wales. So, yeah.
Good lad.
Yeah.
So at that point, when you stepped up from actually, I'm not going to pronounce that, MRO, is that right? Yeah. So at what point did you decide as a rider to step up to British,
Club racing 99, had a really good year, started winning races, and then obviously you want to keep moving forward. So we then
how long did it take you to win your first race?
Right.
No, just what you remember your first win,
on the 600. It would have been that year. It was in March, the first season, so it was
no messing about then.
No, we'd done half a dozen meetings on a super team bike, and then really it was as soon as we got on a. But to be fair, all the winter of '98, at the time Mallory Park was open every Wednesday, and you could practice all the way through right up till sort of December. And so we must have been September. We were there. The bloke who sponsored me, Mark Pointer, lovely bloke. He I don't think he liked his wife. So any excuse to get away, he wanted to be away at a circuit somewhere. So I was like, I can't afford it this week, Mark. And he'd be like, no, it's all right, I'll pay, in the truck. And we used to drive up on a Tuesday night and park under the big oak tree and light the barbecue outside, and he'd sit there and have a couple of beers, and we'd go in on a Wednesday morning, watch the cars, practice every Wednesday. So as soon as the season started, March the 9th it was, the season started, and it was
hit the ground
spring running. Really good meeting. We won at that meeting, and it was brilliant. And then obviously the MROs at the time, like Chrissy does now, you sort of do and yourself, you go all over the place racing, don't you? But at the time I'd be racing like New Era Sunday, and then there'd be an MRO if it was a bank holiday on the Monday. So you'd drive I remember driving actually from drove to Cadwell from Castlecombe. When we got there, it was really late at night. I was half asleep and parked the van at the top of the hill, went off. I thought, I'm desperate for a piss. Went in. When I came out, I thought, I haven't got as far to walk as I first thought. And the van had rolled all the way down the hill. I forgot to put the handbrake on and cleaned the motorhome clean off the slope. But at the time, like I say, I used to race it all over the place. So anywhere you could go, you'd race New Era, MRO, and then obviously at the end of 2000, we'd had a good year in Super Club, and I saw the Junior Super Stock Championship for the year after, and it just seemed perfect. So.
And is that the similar sort of setup now? Junior Superstock 600, and it was for up to 24-year-olds or something?
It was the same, up to 24. What would I have been? Probably 22 at the time. So it was
standard 600s. And how did you get on when you stepped up to the British?
Yeah, good, to be fair. On the podium first meeting at Donington, and then we had a few podiums, a second at Snetterton, and all through the year. And then there was a lad riding for Crescent at the time, James Hutchins. He got injured riding for Crescent, and then because I was top Suzuki in the championship, I replaced him. But I remember some of the racing was awesome, like racing at Brands GP, like Tommy Hill and Ben Wilson, Richard Cooper, and it was just it was brilliant. And I still look back at it as probably some of the best years that we had. So,
but Ben Wilson must be lived near you, does he, or Boston area?
Yeah, Boston. So,
and because I have seen him back in the paddock. I think he's back working with Gearlink, but from after he had that crash at the Northwest, didn't he?
Yeah, hit the roundabout, didn't he?
But done his leg really badly. I still get on really well with Ben. I spoke to him on the way up here, and he's Ben Curry's crew chief now. So it's
good to see him still in the passing that knowledge on, because he was a hell of a super sport pilot, wasn't he?
He was good on super sport, and he was good on super stock. And to be fair, I remember him being good on superbike, but he never really got the full recognition he deserved, really, riding for Vivaldi. So
I think the year that him and Seeley were battling for the championships, one of my favourite ever super sport battles. They seemed, everyone in the paddock was either a Seeley fan or a
Wilson.
I just remember do you know when you're like walking around the paddock and walking up in pit lane and stuff? I just remember there being you could hear a pin drop in the paddock when the Supersport race was on, because everyone was glued to it watching. Like,
yeah, I was right obviously cheering on for Ben, but
he had that really aggressive style with his elbows.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, brilliant.
I remember this will probably cause a bit of a ruckus, but yeah, I was talking Christian. Obviously, Ido is a real good mate of mine, and I remember talking to him when he was racing Supersport for Tag Triumph, and he said, we were talking about Ben Wilson. He said, I never really worry about Ben. He said he uses up that much energy with his style going side to side. He said, by the end of the race, I always know I can get him. And when I started watching the races, I was like, oh yeah, I see what you mean. And but I think if Ben maybe had have eased the style, because it was almost that modern style that we see now in MotoGP and World Supersport, the elbow down style. He was sort of almost pioneer of it years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So he had that style even back in 2001, like 20 years ago on a junior superstock bike. He used to follow him and think, Jesus,
yeah,
where's he going?
Pushing.
You mentioned Christian Eden. When did you first meet Christian? What's the connection?
It was a long time ago. We used to do the instructor Ron Haslam on the race school, and Ido didn't, but his dad did. Paul Iden, and I got talking to him, and then I was talking to him one day on the race school, and he said, what are you doing now? I said, I'm heading Three Sisters Supermoto, and he said, well, we'll be there, like with Christian. I said, all right, cool, I'll see you when I get there. And Christian, as soon as I got there, Christian was obviously like one of the top lads, and he was just, like he is now, just a gentleman really. He came over and said, try this, try that, and we never got rid of him since. I can't get him out. But he was in the camper constantly, and yeah, he was really helpful. And yeah, so I don't even know what year it'd be. It'd probably be in 03, 04, I'd say.
Yeah, and you work together and stuff now, don't you? And spend a lot of time together.
He comes and stays up at ours a fair bit and works. I work on the rivers on the Norfolk Broads, and he comes and stays with us. And a few years ago I cut his finger off, didn't I? So in a post knocker. So he's been coming up for years, but honestly, Dom looks a bit shocked. But yeah,
hold on, is he missing a finger or did he crush a finger?
Oh yeah, I forgot you're a bit of a missing finger guru.
That makes it sound like I've got a fetish. I didn't. Obviously, we've had him in the studio a couple of times.
No. What? We were he's still got the video of it. No, I like making stuff myself, and I'd made this post knocker for knocking some piles in, and basically that's quite dangerous. You're working on a barge with a digger with a post knocker, all sort of, and Christian was holding the post, and then he wasn't holding it with as many fingers. But the funny thing was, he made this sort of squeak, and I thought, what the fuck? And then I looked across at him, and he's like jumping on the floor. I said, what's the matter? He said, just put the fucking post in. So I said, all right, calm down. So I finished knocking the post in, and then he's jogging on the spot. And
a fella, put the post in.
That's what he said, I'll never forget it. And I said, what's the matter? And he took his glove off. He said, I don't know if you want to see it. And he took his glove off, and the end of the finger fell off. So, and then we got the thing, took it and went to the local medical centre, and they said, that's okay, he'll be fine, all the rest of it. And then he took his glove back off again. They said, you better get to hospital. So then we went up there and they stitched it back. And actually he that weekend he was riding Snetterton British Superbikes, and I don't know if many people know, but they made a cast up for him to hold his finger back in place, and he still rode all weekend like he does, and had a good weekend. So yeah, he's
some fella, isn't he?
Must be cool for you, sort of following his career very closely for the last few years and sort of seeing the ups and downs. It must have been really good for you to sort of see him get a top ride with Paul Bird, and to see the progress he's made in the last 2 years, fighting for wins, and especially the start of this season as well, like so strong, and for like the commitment that you see sort of behind the scenes.
Honestly, there's no bigger fan of Ido than me, really. But he, like you just said, to see him do what he's done, even through the Supersport ranks, and as he was coming through, and but the training is just unreal. What he does, he stays at ours, and he'll be in the caravan, staying outside in the drive. And I even remember one morning, it was about 5 o'clock in the morning, I heard doof, 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 and I thought, I might have been, but I hope honestly it was loud.
I'm so glad you said that, Chrissy, because I'm literally sitting here biting my lip going, don't ruin this.
I just set Dom up, and Chrissy took it.
No, I'm just, yep.
No, honestly, it was, and I thought, what is he doing? Again, it carried on like a bass, big bass drum. Like
he's
in
a man of rhythm.
He's got it. So, and literally, yeah, I thought I'm gonna have to go and tell him. So I went outside. And he's there.
Can I join in?
Yeah, and so he's there, like jumping up and down on the caravan. 5 o'clock in the morning. It sounded like a massive, bass box in a car. I said, you can't do that. You're waking the neighbours. Oh right. That's all right. I'll go out for I'll go for a bike ride instead. Then he goes off and does like 60 kilometres or something ridiculous. Then comes back to work all day. Then as soon as he's finished working, he does his jumping about and
proper committed, isn't he?
Oh yeah, really committed. And I think he's, like you said, when he got that ride with Paul Bird, it's awesome for him, because it is one of the top teams, and I know he done a good spell at Tyco, and Tyco, sorry, it's not Tyco, is it?
It was when he was there.
Yeah, Cinetic. It is a really good team, but I just think that final step that he's made is, it seems to be paying off. So I know he's had a difficult couple of weekends, but everyone moans about the showdown. If you're a Jason O'Halloran fan, you'll moan about the showdown, because obviously but from my point of view, I love the showdown this year, because obviously if Ido keeps getting podium credits and ends up in there, then we're back to square one towards the end, and traditionally he has always been strong end of the season, back to his super sport days, and even Superbike. I think he won the cup, was it year before last, and towards the end of the year he does always.
Last year.
Delivers, doesn't he?
Yeah, the year before last year on this.
The year before last year,
BMW.
his last year on Cinetic BMW. So it's great to see him do well. And
I've got to ask a question. What were you doing on a barge in the first place with Christian Eden knocking in? Can you just go back? Right, let's go back to 22-year-old. Let's go back to what did you do to fund your racing through all this to end up on a barge with Christian Eden?
That's a long story. Basically, my dad had a boatyard on the Norfolk Broads, and with a hire fleet of boats. And in fact, when we were racing, he used to run a hire fleet of 30 boats. And the year he ran 10 boats towards the end before he sold it, I was running a big truck, and he reckons he used more red diesel that year than when he ran 30 boats. So that honestly, it was horrendous that year. We were doing some European stuff and racing British championships, and we just
ran a lot of ties out.
Oh yeah. So in fact, I remember I went to Mondello, and I drove there, and we drive down there, me and the ex.
To dip you just in case you're not.
No, we got to the ferry. It was a little port called Mostyn or something, like a cargo port. And I get there, and the guy said, "Have you got any fuel to declare?" I said, "No fuel." He said, "Do you mind if I check?" I said, "Yeah, help yourself." So he opens the back door up. He said, "Well, what are them 2 fuel cans, big drums?" I said, "Them?" I said, "Oh." I said, "That's diesel." He said, "Well, that's fuel." I said, "Oh, I thought you meant petrol." I was like playing real dumb. I thought I'm full of red diesel. What am I going to do? So he said, "Why don't you put it in the truck?" I said, "Oh, I can't put that in the truck." I said, that's red diesel. And he said, "Oh, right. Why have you got 2 cans of red diesel?" I said, "That's for the generator." I said, "That's for the generator." He said, "What, 50 litres?" I said, "That's a thirsty generator." He said, "Why don't you put it in the generator now?" I said, "Because I filled it before I left." So then he said, "You better leave and round the back of the hut." I said, "Yeah, no problems." I left them there, got back in. I said to them, I was like, "Jesus, we got away with that." Went across to Mondello, had a real good meeting there, and came back across, and the fuel gauge was then getting low. I thought, bloody hell, I could do with that diesel. So I stopped, and I said, "Can I pick my diesel cans up, please?" He said, "Yeah, what, the 2 red cans?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, of course you can." Yeah. Put them in the back of the truck. We got about a mile down the road. I thought, I'm going to put it in. So we stopped, and the diesel filler was roadside as well. So I'm glugging it in, and then I hear beep, 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 beep. And that was the security guard. He drove past. I'm filling up with red, trying to wave at him, and he just shook his head. So yeah, I did my fair share of it, but yeah, shouldn't do really, should you?
Have you ever been dipped?
Have you ever
been dipped?
No.
Funnily enough, where my dad had the boatyard, I was there working about 10 years after he'd sold it, and they came in and dipped all our vans. And when he went, my dad was actually there that day helping. Dad went, "He's about 10 years too late, isn't he?" So,
you get dipped with your job quite a bit, don't you?
Oh, dipped all the time, especially when you're leaving
on
farmyards on the forestry and like going like Tyne Tunnel. I've been dipped at the Tyne Tunnel twice.
Have you?
Aye. Ferry Port Vosa. Especially when you go on the M6. I feel like people be writing notes. Where's the dipping quality spot? Stay away from tunnels, toll roads, boat, like going over the island. Oh, God, they love it.
Is it something like...
Never turn up early. There's Dom's top tip. Never turn up early.
With my surname, mate, you've got to turn up early.
No, I'm telling you. Oh, no, I'm telling you. When you go to Ken Ryan, 45-minute shut in, straight off, boom, straight in on the boat. Knee checking, knee dipping, knee nothing.
Oh, yeah. What is it? Is it a grand fine if you get caught running red?
Well, they can take your van off you. I think it's even gone up higher now.
Yeah. I think there's a basic fine to start with, isn't there?
Like about a grand.
Yeah, I think so. And then obviously they can,
Up it from
up
there
it
type of
and
thing.
work out the tax that you should have paid.
But they used to put like dual fuel caps and stuff like that, different tanks, but they just go through the injectors now, man.
Some of the Irish lads who used to come across back in the day were running. It was green, wasn't it, in Ireland instead of red?
Paramedic fuel and stuff like
yeah,
that.
they had secret tanks with pumps and changeover switches and all sorts. Yeah, so
different latches inside.
The underworld. Back to
you're from Burnham. Who do you think you're kidding?
Back to so where we got up to with your thing. So you started at British Superstock and had a good year, like podiums and stuff. Was it back then? Back then there was the Superstock Cup and 1000, wasn't there? And the there was like 2 Superstock 1000 sort of categories.
Yeah, that was a couple of years after. I think that was 2005 did that start. So no, I never did the Cup. There was before the Cup. There was they used to call it the Powerbike Cup. It was ran in 2003, but 2003 I'd gone to ride a BMW Boxer in the Boxer Cup, doing European stuff and a bit in America, and then I just didn't get on with it really.
Explain to our listeners that won't know what one of those is. Can you
Google image
it,
listeners? Google image it.
Oh, come on! It's like massive. Like
the two they're horizontally opposed twins, so which basically means at the side of the bike where the normal belly pan is, there's a cylinder head sticking out each side. In fact, I remember I was struggling to ride it, and Mark Fisher, who now runs GS, you probably know him, Tom Fisher's dad.
Top bloke.
Absolute lovely bloke. He was running the team for BMW Great Britain, and he said to me, just take the bike and practice on it. And I was like, oh, awesome. So I went back to Mallory, a track I knew and everything, and I crashed it at the hairpin, and it was resting on the cylinder head and the 2 wheels, and it was chasing me around the track, like doing big circles. There was me trying to stop it. Anyway, I just couldn't adapt. I did have some good rides. I led in the rain at Le Mans, and crashed out of the lead. And
am I right? Was the Boxer Cup like the Ducati Cup, but it went round Europe?
Yeah, it was run with the MotoGP support series for MotoGP, and so we went there, and it started the year off in Daytona.
So did you have to buy the bikes?
No, we rode for the team.
Yeah. And it was like a one make series. That went all around.
It was good. It was really good series.
Like that now, was it?
Richard Cooper was the man on one, really.
Really?
Yeah, Richard was awesome on one, and he won a Mini Cooper actually. So the first year he was really good. And the year I rode, I was with Richard Cooper and Barry Burrell. So hence I got used to your accent. I'll never forget when I met him. I said, "Where are you from, then, mate?" He said, "Gateshead." I said, "Where?" He said, "Gateshead." I said, "Where?" He said, "Gateshead." I said, "I ain't got a clue." So his cousin was there, who ended up mechanicking for me in late years. So I said, "Where's he from?" He said, "He's from Gateshead. He just told you." I said, "Say it slower." He said, "Gateshead." I said, "Oh, why didn't you say Gateshead?" So every time I see Gateshead now, that's what I think.
I am actually technically from Gateshead, sort of like
Gateshead.
I live on the border between Gateshead and County Durham. So it's like, pretty much.
Yeah.
But if anyone asks, I would say Newcastle, because Newcastle's like the city, Gateshead. Even though like south of the river's Gateshead.
There's a comedian, I can't remember who does that. You know, when you ask a question 3 times and on the 3rd time you agree, it's like, where you from, Gateshead? Where you
That's what it was
from,
like.
Gateshead? Where you from, Gateshead? Right, your son, no bother.
I thought I'd been racing, driving all over the country for years. I thought, I've never heard of it, Gateshead. So, but yeah, but Richard Cooper was awesome on one, really good, and he won some races and done real good on it.
How's he doing? Do you know? Like, I've seen him around the BSB paddock a little bit.
I haven't. But I had a WhatsApp off him not so long ago and a bit of a chat. But I don't know if he's.
Is he all right? No, because he had a big injury last. That'd be nearly 2 years.
I just think he was so close, Richard. He had a good year on the build-based Suzuki, and then did he go back to Superstock? And to be fair, him and Ido were so compatible. Even the race that Christian Chidder won, that Richard Cooper won at Alton Park, I always think, all year they were real sort of quite close. And I think if Coops had just stuck at it for that extra year in Superbike, just to really sort of get the results, it could have been. But he obviously had his reasons, and he does like riding the Superstock bikes, and he seems a bit of a specialist on one. So.
Hell of a rider, and I think he's done a few track days, and he was out on a classic bike when you weren't at the CRMT at Donington. He was out on a Norton or something, or like some old bike.
No, he does. He normally does Goodwood Revival. Have you ever done that?
No, I haven't.
Do you want to do it?
Yeah.
God, well, you're more famous than me, considerably more.
No,
can you put
I
an
don't
entry
think
in?
so.
I'm telling you.
No.
That looks like a hell of an event, to be fair.
No, I'd happily do it. Anything like that. I sort of like doing them races that. Getting back to where we were, like with the racing, I sort of learned at an early age that BSB was going to, after the year in Junior Superstock, I had a chat with a team. Well, it was with MSS. You know, they're lovely guys. They helped me now. Won't hear a bad word about them. But I went up there about riding for them in British Supersport, and at the end of the day, I had to take 60 grand with me. So I honestly, I drove up there. He said, "Do you want to come up and have a chat?" And I remember driving up there thinking, "I've made it.
Yeah,
I've done it." So, and then I got there and saw the workshop, and the facility, and everything. And I thought, "Oh, that is just incredible." And then obviously they have to have money to pay for it, and it just didn't work out. And I knew from that day, I thought, "Oh, this is going to be
bit
tough."
of a bubble pop.
And I sort of thought to myself, I'm probably better off having my own trucks, my own awning, my own infrastructure, and then I can never.
You're not relying.
I'm not relying on anyone else. That's my own team, and you know, I think a lot of the time that's the way to do it. But then I then thought maybe there's other things other than BSB. As much as I love it, and I do think any youngster needs to be there to progress, and but there is other races. You can go and do your Daytonas, your Le Mans, and you know, obviously like you do, you could do the roads if you want the Northwest and you know Ulster or TT, and there is other races. You can go and do Spanish Championships, and there's other races to do, and it doesn't have to all be BSB. So
Okay, going through that cracking list, which ones have you done of those?
all of them, I think.
You've
All of
literally
the
got
above.
that whole
We've done
list.
yeah,
You've done
done-
that is, I tell you what,
done-
that's some CV, that mind.
I haven't done the TT. Done Le Mans. Done Daytona 4 times. Done
You got the watch.
Northwest.
You got the watch.
So, no.
Talk us through, Dex. We've spoke about it on the podcast a few times.
No, we haven't spoke about it. We've dropped hints
Yeah,
after hints.
no, but
after
we'd
hints.
love
Boys,
to do.
what you've got to
Daytona.
do is
You
not drop hints. You've got to just sit here now and say, we're doing it next year. And once you've made your decision, it happens. And that's pretty much what happened to me. I went there with the Boxer Cup, really enjoyed it. And then a couple of years later, I was riding a 600. I was actually doing groundworks in a digger and driving bits and pieces. And I was sat in the tea room. It was like December time, muddy. And I was reading motorcycle news and all the rest of it. And a lad there was really into his bikes. He said, Daytona. I said, yeah, I've been and done it. And I told him about it. He said, that sounds awesome. I said, do you know what? Fuck it, I'm doing it. And I literally got on the phone and phoned up Hartsmere Logistics, it was called. Phoned the guy up, Mike, and he sorted the bike shipping, said what I needed to make. And he actually said, gave me the dimensions of the crate and everything else. And I said, yeah, no problems, brilliant. And then that Christmas, I'd gone across that Christmas to Spain, to Cartagena, just driven down there in a Sprinter and had Christmas over there and riding around Cartagena. And so then we had to strip bits off the bike, basically, because I needed them here for the first British round. And then I packed everything up in the box. And then the day it was going, I phoned him up and said, right, box is all done. He said, oh yeah, lovely. He said, you didn't make it of wood, did you? And I said, why is that? And he said, oh, it can't be made of wood, because the Americans have got really funny about the insects and all the bacteria in the. I said, oh shit. So I was like straight onto the local steel stockholders. What have you got? So they, we had to come home, quickly make a crate. Me and my mate made a crate, put the bike in it, and rammed it full of tools and tyre warmers and whatever we could cram around the bike, and then sent it off. And it was unbelievable experience. You two have just, you've got to just say to each other, let's do it, and go and do it. That's all it is.
We're broke. How much did something like that cost you?
Honestly, mate, never, ever, ever write down what it's going to cost you, because you'll never do anything in life.
No, you're right. No, you're not wrong.
If you said now, someone
could not agree. I could not agree more to that fact. I'm paid
just
as you go.
send yourself. Get yourself. You've got a 600 out there, haven't you? Or you've got a Kawasaki 600 for the Carrington Racing team, and just say to them about it. Get over there. I'm hinting big style at the minute. I'm trying to get Lee Hardy to send his 600. So I like Lee, and I know he's now building another race truck, another Arctic, and he wants some slide outs and bits and pieces put in it. So
you see,
there's a deal.
so we're trying to have a deal.
There's a deal to negotiate.
But I said, why don't we? And I'd like to soften it to the wife. I said, I know what we'll do. We'll have a villa and take the kids and everything. It'd be absolutely brilliant like that. And then. Yeah, I'm now. She went, oh yeah, we can do Disney. I was thinking, no, you can do Disney World. I'm going to Daytona. So, but yeah,
is this how you're breaking it to her?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your wife's name? What's your wife's name?
Bazza.
Bazza.
No, that's her nickname. Nicola.
Nicola, you're going to Disneyland.
Yeah, you're going to Daytona, Bazza. So but just honestly, make the decision, make it happen, go and do it. And
I like that attitude.
That's the best experience you'll ever do.
Daytona race.
Yeah, so as a mate, like the first time you go on the track, you think you ride out up on the banking, and you think, Jesus, is this a straight? Is it a corner? And you look a right idiot. You're riding like at the banking, and you think to yourself, where should I be? But within a couple of sessions, you're at the top of the banking, and like you're touching the wall on the top, on the wall, and you come in and just it is an amazing feeling, and a real great place as well. So the whole Daytona Bike Week is is a brilliant experience. You know, you got the American flat track on, and which I'm a massive fan of, and Supercross, again, massive fan of that. And so the whole bike week, the whole experience, there's a few dirt tracks on actually during the week, or, you know, there's a half mile not far away, and at the time they were running the municipal stadium with the short track, which was the official AMA flat track, and that's where I sort of got a bit of an interest in that as well.
Do you know, just weirdly, when I was driving here by myself, I was driving along the top of North Wales, and it's beautiful scenery, and I was listening to what's it called, an audio book, and I just thought to myself, at some point this week, I'm going to write myself a bucket list. I've never done it, but there's a few.
I thought you were going to say you're going to write a book.
No, there's a few things recently, and having this conversation.
Black and white photo, like.
Having this conversation has just like confirmed it for us. I'm 100% in the next few weeks going to write a bucket list of things that like I got to do before I die, and go Daytona 200s on it.
Daytona is. We went across pretty much proper privateers. Went across with a couple of mates. In fact, Gateshead, Barry Burrell's cousin Gary came with me, a mechanic, and Richard from the awning company.
Tell us about. Oh, go on, sorry, what was it?
Well, yeah, we went across. And
this episode's getting called Gateshead.
So honestly, we went across, and you literally get off the plane, and we were straight to the desk, like to get a hire car. But you, like we said, you're doing it on a budget, and what can we hire? We need something to pick the bike up in. So we need a pickup. You're like, oh, I've got to watch the cost. And then they like you see a picture of this massive Dodge Ram. I was like, we need that. Put it on the credit card. We're having that for the week.
I bet. Do you know? Because you'll have known Christian for all those years, and do you know when he was moving up north, and you said, "Oh, where are you moving to?" Gateshead. You're like, you are joking.
No, bleeding. Yeah. So
now, other than the Daytona 200, what's the bucket list thing? What do I need to be putting on my bucket list that you've done? Like,
Le Mans 24 hour is definite. That is the feeling that you get for finishing the Le Mans 24 hour is just.
Can you do that as a privateer?
I rode for a little team. They were a private team, Alf's Kawasaki, with John Crockford and Stephen Thompson, and it was amazing. Like the memories I've got now from it are still, you know,
is John Crockford, Brodie Crockford's dad?
Yeah, he was a real good superstock rider. Did he win the superstock? He rode for Crescent. I think he either won it, or then he went to Roundstone the year Chris Burns won it, and I think he was second, but that was really close. Yeah, he was a good rider, but Le Mans is definitely a bucket list. Daytona is definitely a bucket list, and for me, Northwest 200 was on the bucket list, so which I really enjoyed. So, but yeah, there's still plenty to do.
So, what inspired you to go to the roads then?
It was Stephen Thompson, really, just our Irish team. Do you know Stephen? He had a big crash at the Northwest a few years back. He was Hong Kong Thompson. Really,
yes,
honestly, he's one of the loveliest blokes you'll ever meet in your life.
Where does Hong Kong Thompson come from?
Hong Kong.
Gateshead?
No, he comes from Crumlin in Northern Ireland.
Where's the nickname come? Or is that?
Because it was to do with Macau, I think. So, right. But he was the one that he kept saying to me. But we rode in the same team, and like in fact, talking about making things happen. I remember leaving 2003. I blew my bike up last round of the Superstock Championships, and Mark Fisher got me the bits from Pidcock's under warranty to rebuild the engine, and I left my house with a blown up Superstock bike with a load of bits, and with Stephen, it was like, we still joke about it now, it's like the blag of the century. We went and got two bikes, one on deferred payment, picked the other one up, 3 Micron exhaust, then went somewhere else, sold all the road body kit. That gave us enough money. By the time I got home, I had 2 brand new Superstock bikes sitting there, a set of Daytona boots and 2 sets of leathers. I was just sat there in amazement. I was like, oh. But yeah, that was with Stephen. We were at T&R Motorsport. He was absolutely brilliant, and he still is, and a good rider, and good bloke, good at the TT, good at Northwest.
For you, was the Northwest a bucket list, like we'll do it once and tick it off, or was there not that urge to go back the next year and the next year?
I'd done it twice. I'd done it on 1,000 the first year, 2004, and it went quite well. Really, really enjoyed it. And then I went back with the 600. As soon as the 600 came back from Daytona, I bought it off Martin Finnegan, and it was a good bike, to be fair. He was a lovely bloke as well. So then the bike was good. That we came back from Daytona. Literally, it hadn't been back a week, and it just sort of got an oily rag over it because that's all we had time to do. Chucked it in the truck, and then we were off to the Northwest with it. And then a lad got me Simon Patterson, the lad who's now at Motorcycle News.
Yeah, he
got me he put a thing on Facebook and basically said that needed another bike. The twins had just come out, but so I rode a 400 there, and again we borrowed it off an Irish team, and I spent most of the week cleaning it, so it looked like it had done 10 years at Mablethorpe beach racing. So by the time we'd got it right, but I think we still finished top 15 on it, and it was good riding the 400 against the 650s, so enjoyable.
Is the reason that you haven't done the TT as a bucket list, is that just like the added danger of the...
Well, 2004, I was involved in a bit of a crash it was a big crash at Brands Hatch in the Superstock race, and a friend of mine, Darren Mitchell, got killed, and Jamie Morley was seriously injured, and there was a few more, and then just from that day on, it sort of changed my perspective a little bit on things. And the TT, I wanted to do it, but I just couldn't in my head put it didn't add up. So, and I think you've either got the mentality where you don't think about it, so you just go and do it and enjoy it. And I mean, Dom, you tell me, when you sit in the paddock, are you absolutely shitting yourself thinking, why do I do this? Or are you just itching to go?
I'm sitting there shitting myself, but at no point...
But the second you let the clutch out, I forgot.
It goes a quarter bridge, to be fair.
Yeah.
It does, for me, like the clutch thing, it's off you go, but the thing for me is it's never why am I doing this? I'm sitting there shitting myself going... Do you
just sit there, like, I in fact, Stephen rode my 600 there, I think it was 2014, we ran him there on the 600, and we were there for the full 2 weeks, and it was brilliant experience, but like the feeling up in that collecting area before is like silence, and again, a bucket list thing. It's pretty special, I should imagine, to be sitting there, and even just to like be sitting there with the bike and stuff. And for me, I couldn't justify that. It didn't add up.
I couldn't not agree more, and we've said it 100 times on this show. It's a bit like you either want to do it or you don't, and there are huge consequences with this sport and life in general. But it very much levels everything out for you. The Isle of Man, you want to do it, or you don't, and you got to respect both decisions massively. You got to respect.
Do you know, like on the film, what's it called, with James Hunt and Barry Sheen? What's that film?
Rush,
yeah.
What? Oh, no,
Barry Sheen.
Barry Sheen. No.
Oh no, it was
James
Hunt. Was it Hunt and Louder?
Yeah, Hunt.
James Hunt. Sorry, I think you said Louder. Sorry, that's an old joke. Sorry. Dad joke.
On that film when James Hunt's been sick before he goes on track.
Yeah, it means he's revved up.
Do you ever get? Has there ever been a case where I'd imagine just before you go down Bray Hill, that's the most stomach? What's the word, where it's like turning inside and you have like things. Do you ever? Is anyone ever sick on?
I tell you what, no one's sick. But the thing that makes me laugh every year, they only put 2 pissing cubicles right at the start line, literally just off Park Ferme, and it's every rider there's a queue 2 either side, and it's like the world's fastest pissing queue, and everyone's just sitting there, and it's the most awkward small talk. You're like in the queue going, Are you looking forward to it, son? You're like, yeah.
I think if I did the TT, I'd have to have a colostomy bag fitted the week before. I'd just be that nervous. I'd just...
How did you feel when you went to the Northwest, though?
Yeah, that's like we said, once you're there, you sort of just go with it, don't you? You're that busy, you get your bike screwing it. And that's just like an anxiety thing, I think. You sit there and think of what could happen, and what if this, and what if that, and all the rest of it. And but... yeah, once you're there, once you're off, you're racing, you don't even think about it, and then you come back in, and obviously once all that adrenaline is why we're here now. That's why I'm here 20 odd years later, and that feeling, even now, club racing Thundersport on a Super Twin, which is like just pretty low class of racing really, but if you've had a good weekend, the feeling you get driving home is still the same feeling that I got, when I got dumped in the paddock in 1996 or whatever. So
brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is. So we are very lucky to be doing such a great sport, aren't we?
We're so lucky. But you make your own luck, and it's like anything. If you want to go and do it, you've got to just make the decision and do it. And my little lad is 3 years old now, and yesterday I was loading the bikes up, just swapped engines. Been a real hectic week. I wheeled the bike outside, and he stood behind it, and I hit the start button. And I saw him sniffing like the exhaust fumes. Then he got a massive smile, and it was like, I thought, he's got it. So I thought, we're in luck. So yeah, and then he said, do it again, Daddy, do it again. So I started it up, and he stands behind it with like the twin just bump, just bumping away on his head. And he was smiling. I thought, oh yeah, we're safe. And I thought, but that is the same feeling that we've all had. Yeah, he is mine. So, but no, honestly, that is the same feeling that I think all of us have had, and everyone in this paddock's had. And I honestly think I am addicted to racing. As you know, because you do love it, don't you? And that feeling that you get of the endorphins after the meeting, and how you know, some people get it from exercising, but I also think motorsport in general, or any sport, it doesn't make any difference. I'd like, you know, for my children, I'd like them to have a sport. I think they need something. It gives you focus, and like for all my life, all you do is, and like the same as you, Dom, you're always working up a tree, I presume, working flat out because you've got a tyre bill to pay, or you're saving for the TT. So, and that's how it goes, isn't it? Keep you on straight and narrow.
That section on Close at the Hedge, you know, when guys working on his lorry up under things, and he's like, some guys like shagging, and then he's like, I like it. And
I'm not gay, alright, but
yeah, it's such a it's a brilliant because it's exactly what you're just saying there, like, but.
You just need something, don't you? As like I say, the whole thing is just from loading the van. We all get stressed out, and like, have we all had them days where you're loading the van and nothing will fit in the van? You go to pull the paddock stand out and it catches everything else in the van, and everything you do just goes to shit, and you just think, why do I do this? But then you get to the race meeting and you ride, and it's, you know, absolutely brilliant, isn't it? So. We're addicted. I just got to admit it.
And speaking of twins and stuff like that, and obviously Close to the Edge kind of thing, did I see? I generally had to double check, right? I thought I saw your super twin getting ridden by Guy Martin. I was literally in the holding area going, "It's Matt's twin. What the hell's he doing on Matt's twin? How did this come about?"
Again, Guy was one of the class of 2001, like junior superstock lad. And I met him in 1999 club racing. And we've been really good mates ever since. And he's been, you know, doing some engine work for me and bits and I still help him out. And he's just Guy's just what you see. You know, he is what you get. There's nothing. He's so kind-hearted, and he'll do anything to help you. And you know, he's done loads of engines for me over the years. He's helped me out, and so sometimes I'll go up to his house and I'll work.
So he's building your 800 engines.
No, they're not as small as that. 900 Z9 engine. But no, I'll go up there, and you know, all the stuff you see on telly, pretty much he is building it at home in his shed, and he does get on with it. So I'll go up there, and I don't know if you can say it, but yeah, he's got like a little Piaggio ape for one episode with a little 3-wheeler thing with a ZX10 engine in it, and so I've been up there doing some work on that and bits. So I'll do that while he's building me an engine, are
you his mad engineering mate he sometimes comments about on these programmes?
I don't know.
I think you are, aren't you? I think we found a national treasure here.
They don't get much madder than him, do they? So even I speak to him some days, and I'm on the phone. I think, fucking hell, I only asked a simple question. Like, you thought I'd have asked him, like, can you split the atom with a chisel? But he just, honestly, he just goes on. Nah, boy, the problem is you need spring preload for that, and the spring preload isn't going to equal this. And I'm thinking, oh my God, will it run, Guy? Yeah, it'll be fine. Right, let's take it.
I tell you what, you must do a good job on your engines, because the you know, proper like trick twins, and
they are beautiful.
The speed you're riding them, you must be getting some ponies out of them.
Yeah, he does a really good job on them. To be fair, I will say he's so busy with other stuff. Sometimes, you know, he's very clever. But it's not fair, because Guy is Guy. What you see is what you get. He'll be working on a truck, or then he's got his tractors. He's out harvesting. You know, if you phone him up now, he'll be baling or harvesting. And sometimes he's 4 hours away from where I live. So I also get a bit of help from MSS, luckily, and they've just done the engine we're here on today, and it seems really, really good. So, and to be fair, when you go to MSS, we were on the dyno there the other day, and like the way them boys know how to build a bike, don't they? So you know, Nick dynoed it himself, and it was absolutely awesome. So but the engines are good. So yeah, guys done a couple for me. MSS are now doing a couple, so we're sort of just whatever's still in one piece goes in the bike.
To be fair though, that, like, you've built that bike though, haven't you? The actual chassis and everything like that.
Yeah.
You've turned your own hand to it. Is that what put your interest into Super Twins? The fact that it could be a bit more bespoke.
I'd actually retired from racing in 2014, and funnily enough, we were at Cadwell British Superbike, and I'd had a big knee operation, ACL, MCL, PCL, all reconstructed, and I was really struggling in 2014 to move, and it was on the bike and stuff. And then I thought, I was at Cadwell, and obviously speak to Guy a fair bit on the phone. I phoned him up. I said, I think I'm done. And he said, really? He said, no, boy, get yourself up here. He said, I'm going flat tracking this afternoon. You'll love it. So I said, I'm still at Cadwell. He said, I'll come pick you up. So I just pretty much left the bike in the awning, zipped it up, and left the meeting, and we went dirt tracking. And then I thought, you turn left, and my right knee is the bad one. I thought, you don't really need it. It just sits on a footrest. So my retirement lasted about 30 seconds, and then we went dirt tracking for about 4 or 5 years, and then then it was literally Ido again. So Ido, he said, what Ido was my best man. He said, what are we doing for your stag do then? Because I don't really drink. And he said, oh, you don't drink? He said, so we're not going to go out and get strippers and do nothing? He said, do you fancy doing a track day, a Whittam track day at Mallory? So,
I thought you were about to say, I'll keep the strippers.
I just don't drink. I'm not worried about the strippers. No, so we went to Mallory and literally borrowed a bike, went there, had a day, and then, like we just said about earlier, about that addicted feeling. I was driving home, we'd taken his motorhome up, and I was driving back, and I thought, missed that so much, that feeling. And then I thought, oh no, I felt it. Here we go. And but Richard Cooper and Gateshead were there, and they were on CB500s, and I just thought, do you know what? Them two are having such a laugh on them. I thought, I don't really want one of them. I want something that looks a bit more like a race bike. And obviously, the only twins I'd seen was like Ryan's bikes at Super Twins at TT. So I thought you've got to have an ER. Everyone's on them. So, but yeah, within a few days, there was a crash damaged ER sitting in the garage, and then there's nothing left of them, is there? Time you get into them, there's nothing left of the original bike, is there?
How long have you been married through all this?
I've been married about 6-7 years, is it?
Right, so, there we go. Yeah. No, I'm just trying to put a timeline together.
You love a timeline, Dom. Speaking for the fans now, you always mention the timeline.
You've got to put things into context, haven't you? Because there'll be a lot of women listening. There'll be a lot of women listening to this because their husbands are listening to it, going, "See."
No, I am really, really. In fact, listening to the pod the other day, hearing Jason O'Halloran talking about his wife, you think, bloody hell, that is obviously a partnership that works really, really well. And then you think, oh, actually, my wife never says a word. I'm so lucky. So we just, but no, I am.
You're
lucky.
Still not going to Disneyland though.
Wow. Not yet.
Speaking of the twins, are such a what's the word? Like the prototypes, aren't they? And the engineering that goes into them is like ridiculous. And
I think really. They were like a few years ago. They are like little super bikes, aren't they? Yeah, so I mean, our bike, Dom's bike is trick, isn't it? The latest one you're riding and stuff. I've seen pictures of it, and like the time they are absolute. I think what needs to happen now, and this is only a personal point of view. That's probably wrong, but the way we've got junior super sport lads on 400s, and then the 600 class is now being sort of remodeled with the 765s and the Triumphs and everything else, and the Ducatis and everything. I think really it would be a good time when you think you've got the manufacturers like Suzuki, Kawasaki, Ducati build a twin which is eligible, air cooled, the Aprilia. So, and then you've got the CF Moto. There's probably 5-6 manufacturers who all make a twin. I think really that could be a good class. Mate, I don't know about BSB. I personally think it would be, but just as an intermediate, them 400s they're like, what are they, 40 odd horsepower? And I just think that next step, but I think they need to rein it in a bit. Basically, like our bike, we run K-Tech Superbike forks and Brembo monoblocks, and that's not. You just think to yourself, they don't need it. Really, the rules should say it needs to come off like a homologated bike from the same manufacturer, so you could run ZX6 wheels, ZX10 wheels, and forks and front end, and then the engines. That's quite the engine rule is actually really simple because at the minute it's so open. But really, what you need to do is just put a horsepower limit on it. Mm-hmm. Just if you stuck a 95 horsepower limit on it, dyno the first 3 plus randoms every meeting, and there's a weight limit as well. And if your bike goes on dyno, or if you don't want to do it off a dyno, do it off speed trap figures. Because they don't lie, do they?
Quite straightforward, isn't it? And there's actually an Aprilia out there today testing it. Looks really pretty standard.
The original DC, Dan Cooper Racing.
And what?
Darren Cooper.
Darren. Oh God, you'll hate me for that one. Have
you seen him out there and the bike?
I haven't seen it out there. I saw one. I had a good look at one up at MSS during the week, and they are like we said, from the engineering point of view. Our little bikes, they've got a lot of stuff on them, but they're not actually that dear to build. The frame is a 2011 ER off eBay, a couple £100 worth. The Versus swing arms come from America, $80 each. I run Z650 wheels, which no one else wants because they're slightly lighter than an ER wheel. Lee Hardy, and I buy self-supporting subframes, which are £350 or whatever, but you don't then need to buy a seat unit. You don't need to buy a subframe. And I sort of, by the time you've got your chassis together, run standard tanks and the bits and pieces. If you put a ZX6 front in, I think you could, but they do need to be reined in a little bit. And now the manufacturers, if they could get them a bit closer to a production bike, I think it would be a perfect stepping stone for.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Do you reckon that Aprilia is a threat in the Super Twin world? Because no one's really had them out in anger, but Darren Cooper there. That's the first one I've seen. Anyway.
There was a lad at Emra the other day, and he was going really well on one. So his times were pretty close to what we'd done there at Thundersport. So they're
out the crate. They're pretty.
I don't know the spec of his bike in all fairness.
That's the other side of it, isn't
it? But at the minute, like an ER engine or a Z engine, everyone's got so much data for them, and you know what sort of works and what doesn't. But with an Aprilia, who's going to be the first person? Like our bikes, the ER. Let's face it, they're shopping bikes. They come about 58 horsepower, whatever that and then we make them race bikes. Whereas that Aprilia has come out in a higher state of tune. If you start doing anything to,
how fragile is that going to be?
Yeah, I've seen a dyno readout from one and overlaid it from our Super Twin, and ours at the minute is miles stronger than a standard one.
Yes.
The top horsepower figures pretty similar, but the way it makes its ours is we're like in places 10-12 horsepower stronger in the mid.
That's the thing. A lot of people think about the end of the brake horsepower. That's a load of bollocks. It's about torque out of an engine that gets you to that figure. You know what I mean? It's about the build into it, and a lot of people overgo that. But
I've had this conversation with Guy the other day. He disagrees, but
I
agree. Yeah, don't start him on torque. But yeah, he I do agree with it.
Well, we'll come down to you. You and Guy will all have a nice little whinge about it.
What's his take on it?
Yeah.
Well, torque is important, isn't it? Obviously, but if you've got good horsepower, you end up somewhere near with the torque anyway. So, but torque is like that instant. That's like doing that, isn't it? Like pressing something hard once, whereas power is constant. Do it with the constant power. So, but having said that, the engine I'm riding here, the MSS engine, is torquey, and it does a track like this for me. The torque is good, so I agree with you, and so you can punch corner to corner to corner, and so I personally think it's good. But I think if they got the MT-07 and the Suzuki are bringing a new bike out, Kawasaki are bringing a new bike out, so I think the Suzuki's going to be a parallel twin. So in the next 2 or 3 years, there's going to be a lot bigger range of the bikes, and yes, I definitely think it'd be a good stepping stone for
And before we move on from twins, can I ask your opinion? Peter Hickman running the Norton bike at the TT. Is that fair or not fair? Now, I'm a Hickman fan. I think everyone's a fan of Hickman. Hickman's an amazing fella, and I just think it's great that the Norton brand's involved with the TT, but that is a one-off bike.
Yeah.
And
they aren't they now making a few more? Are they now? Is Hickman taking over a bit of the development on it?
I have no idea.
It has to comply with the rules, doesn't it? And if it's not homologated, that's a bit like the pattern, isn't it? I know it's a bit of a grey area in the Super Twin world, so I'll probably get a load of horrible messages. But the pattern is, again, it's a real.
That's a bespoke
bike,
race
isn't it? Race bike, and But if there was a horsepower limit and a weight limit, it wouldn't really make any difference. If you want to spend 30 grand on a pattern, you race it against your 15 grand Aprilia.
Do you think, I know you maybe wouldn't want to do the TT yourself, but how passionate you are with Super Twins and the time and effort that you've put into developing them and stuff. Do you know if there was, say, a rider that was wanting to race a Super Twin but didn't have one, do you think you would get a kick out of seeing one of your bikes, like prepping a bike and maintaining a bike to do the TT?
I like this question.
Or would the pressure just, you wouldn't enjoy it because of the stakes?
You've done it kind of though. You put your mate Guy on it.
No,
No,
that's what we were talking about, isn't it? Yeah, Guy was riding the Classic, so and he hadn't ridden for about a year, so he just wanted a few extra laps on something. So we got talking, and he said, "Oh, I've put an entry in for Super Twin. Is that all right?" I said, "Yeah, far away." So I just met him in McDonald's or somewhere at Swaffham, and he took the bikes back and just to get a few extra laps in. So,
but going back to Chris's question, like how that kick, or was it fear, or was it you've had, because that is a huge thing for people, like spot, like I find it very difficult to get sponsors. A lot of people think you do the TD, you'll get loads of sponsors. You don't. A lot of people don't want to get involved because of the inherent risk, and that's a very good question to see.
That inherent risk is really the rider's risk, isn't it?
Of course it is.
If that bike is so Chris Barnes was on here on your pod, and he said something real good about helping Mike Norbury, and basically he said we'd rather he took a bike that was prepared really well to a bike that, so
Yeah.
And same with yourself. Like Mike Norbury's going to go to the TT, whether he's riding a Superstock bike out of his single garage at home or whether he's riding for a big team, isn't he?
Exactly.
So that wouldn't really bother me. It's just no.
Surely you would get a kick out of seeing
Yeah,
your
but the
engineering
enjoyment.
to be like, especially if they were like, say, battling for a podium, battling for a win.
Oh, I don't know if they're quick enough for that, but yeah, maybe. That's a bit tricky because obviously Ryan gives us a little bit of help with airboxes and bits and pieces, Farquhar and bits and pieces. So to, and that's his bread and butter, the TT and the roads. So I don't, at the minute I just built mine just for myself. Don't get me wrong, short circuits, I'd love to see someone on them, and we're going to get you on one, aren't we, Chris?
I'd love a go.
So
Me.
yeah, but get you on there. But no, I would like to see, it'd be nice to see someone on one having a go. But the TT, I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Wait,
that's
hold on. That's not another. That is
It's
a
not an
conversation.
arranged thing,
No. It's about to be. When's this happening, kids?
I would love it.
Well,
I've
as
never
long
been
as
on
it's not a
train.
Thundersport, we'll do it. So do it. Can you go to Emra one day meeting?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd love a bash on that.
But you've got to be racing as well, Dom.
My God, bring it on.
Chasing the race.
Chasing the
twin
racing.
race.
Yeah, twin
That'll
off.
be the. I'm not.
Who's
I
your
would
money
feel.
on?
I would feel tasty for that. Like.
I would agree. To be fair. Seeing
Right,
Dom
we're
on
gonna
train.
get Chrissy out testing then.
No.
We're going to Spain.
No, he's out racing at the forefront of British pride and racing. It bollocks to that. You stick him on the grid and go.
No, if we're going racing, we're
No.
going racing.
No, I'm up for the race, but he's not getting practice. That's what I'm saying.
All right, you two have your race off in Daytona then.
Deal. Yeah, good.
No, I want super to it. Let's super.
I definitely want to do Daytona. So we
I'm
need to
down.
get
What
that
about
sorted.
Laguna Seca, Moto America? We could all go.
Oh God, yeah, I'm up for it. They are.
Let's get it.
That's
let's
a bit
get
of
it
a
on the-
bucket list, Laguna.
Let's get it on the bucket list. Now, do you know you mentioned that a guy does your engines and you do like a few bits and bobs for Guy? Obviously, with his TV work and whatever, he's always doing like really bespoke, sort of unique engineering things and like cool things. What's the best, coolest project you've worked on with Guy?
With Guy.
In general.
In
Actually,
general, to be fair, I don't really know. That's always bits and pieces with him, and that's gone on over the years for that long. And in fact, riding the dirt track, we were teammates on KTM's, and so we built dirt trackers and stuff, and we've always just done stuff together. Guy's just one of the boys. Honestly, he's just the loveliest bloke. He's just another Ido, really. He's a hard worker. He's just a proper bloke, and if you go around there, he'll do anything to help you. And he's got some mad ideas. Don't get me wrong, some proper mad ideas. But he's just, some of the stuff he does is. That's opened up so many doors for him, I think, and he sort of appreciates them doors that have been opened, and but he'll still be on his tractor 11 o'clock at night bailing, and
God,
that's not people think a lot of it is just for television or like he does it just for but for show, but that's not it. I can guarantee he is. Or you'll go around and see him, and he's like up to his arms in shit, building some old boat engine. He's stripped in the wash tank, and that is all just how he is.
Great, isn't it? Do you know from the time where you left the BSB paddock to say go and do the Boxer Cup, and then you've ended up doing all kinds of things? Did you return to BSB at any point?
Yeah, definitely went back to BSB and it was sort of pretty much 05, 06, 07 Super Sport, and then had a fair stint on super stock bikes, but never like a front runner like yourself. A privateer. From my point of view, I always wanted to, if I could just be the best that I could be, and for me that was a top 10 was like a win, and scoring a point was a real good weekend, but it could be anywhere from like 15th to 20th, and then but when you look back at them results now on TSL, you realise just how fast you were going, and so you'd finish 16th, 17th, and at the time it was like heartbreaking, and like you think, oh fucking hell, I can't believe it, and then as afterwards you sort of look and think, actually I didn't do too bad. It was but you're never as good as you want it to be, are you? You never I would I always wanted just to be a good British Superbike privateer. I remember Shane Byrne rode for Performance House on a privateer Suzuki, and I remember him like beating a lot of the factory teams. I remember thinking, that's so cool. He's a proper privateer. He's just done, they're doing it, and for me that was always the goal. But yeah, it was done one British Superbike race which lasted 3 laps of practice, and snapped the bike in half. So that was the end of that dream.
Where was that at?
It was Snetterton. It just literally started as a when you're testing, you go out for a meal, don't you, in Spain and stuff, and just there was a guy there who used to sponsor me, Basil, and Dean owned this Fireblade, and we sort of said, we were talking like we are now about what oh, that's Bowser. A silencer. She's going to Disney World. She'll be fine. So yeah, we have. But yeah, literally, we sat there and said, we said, I just want to do a British Superbike race, and Basil was like, well, make it happen. Let's do it. Then Dean sort of built this Superbike and got a bit. Oh,
must be serious.
Where's silence?
You can answer that if you want. I'll just pause.
Yeah, we can pause it and edit it out.
That's fine.
It's fine. That's silent.
So no, she So literally, that's what we did. We decided we were going to do Superbikes, enter Snetterton, and Dean got a bit carried away. Bought the latest Öhlins forks for it. We went to Alton and won the endurance there testing, and then we went. He ended up with a big swing arm in it, FTR swing arm and Dymags and everything in it. And he was a mechanic for me for years, Dean Skipper, 2 scoops, and absolute, really good guy. And the bike. The had a big radiator on it, and it was a bit close to the exhaust. And I remember saying, "Bloody hell, Dean, that's a bit close, isn't it?" And he said, "That's all right. It's clearance. Blah, blah, be fine. All the rest of it." And obviously going down the back straight there, it just pushed it in. And then so I done the out lap, done the second lap, then the third lap was my first flyer, and it was on the old Snetterton, the 200. Literally went through the S's and then came into the bomb hole and just massive high side and absolutely wrecked it. And I remember sort of knocked myself about, and I took my helmet off and I was absolutely dazed, didn't I, but luckily I sort of always have painted helmets, and on the back I had my name. So she said, "Do you know your name, love?" And I was like trying to read it. Matt Layt. And she went, "Yeah, okay," like that. So then I thought, oh, she's never going to believe this. So I gave it the old, I'm winded, just have to give me a couple of minutes to get, and then so after that I said, "Sorry, Dean, I'm going to have to go home and get my super stock bike." So that was the end of the Superbike career, unfortunately. So, but yeah.
Hey, you've been there and done it.
Well, we had an entry as far as it got.
Hey, you got 3 laps.
Endurance.
In your whole career, what's the one standout, the best moment that you've ever had on 2 wheels?
I couldn't say. That many brilliant moments. Probably finishing Le Mans, Daytona, finishing Daytona every time we done it and stuff. The 200 and. When I say we done it as a privateer, it was proper privateer. We literally went there, and we found we'd find the cheapest hotel room with a ground floor and patio doors in it, so we could get the bike in and put the bike together in the hotel room, because I'd kept the shock and the kit loom and ECU and everything for back over here in Britain. So when we get there, we're building the bike, and then literally, I remember we were in America, and this. I think I once told you the story. There was the cleaner, this big American cleaner, and she came in, she saw the bike, and we were like, "Calm down, that's okay, that's going to be going." And she said, "You can't have that in there, man." And she was going, and I said, No, it's fine. I said, "Look, I'll tell you what, that'll be gone tomorrow. You turn a blind eye to it." I said, any money we leave on there, it'd be a tip for you, sort of thing. She was, "Oh, okay." Anyway, Richard, who was with me, didn't realise I'd had this conversation with her, came in, emptied his wallet while he had a shower, put it all on the side. She must have took about $100, so she must have thought we were the biggest tippers in the world. But yeah, literally, we'd build the bike in the hotel room, then you go to the circuit, and you do the 200, and it was just amazing. So I'd probably say the Daytonas and Le Mans, the bigger races, all them bucket list races, they're the ones that really stand out. Had some good rides in British Championships and bits and pieces, and but they're the ones that really stand out. It doesn't really matter where you finish, almost. It does matter, but we managed to get up into top 20. I remember riding and seeing it on the big tower. There's a big illuminated tower, and you know where you are, coming around the banking, and we were like 23rd or 23rd, 24th, something like that. But at the time, there was over 80 riders who'd qualified, and I was like, fuck, I can't believe it. And then obviously you come in for the pit stop, and I come in, and I've got Gateshead is there in his flip-flops, and Richard from the Ornica in his shorts, and obviously you're not allowed shorts in pit lane. Well, we didn't know, did we? So refueling the bike, anyway, we got a fine for that, and then because we didn't have quick fill tanks and all the rest of it, you end up dropping back, and then you sort of claw a few back and end up going again, and to finish that race is really special. And I remember the end of that race, the American official comes up to me, and he said, "Well done, man." He said, "You were quickest in sector 5. I said, "Sector 5?" I thought, thought there was only 4 sectors. I said, I thought there was only 4 sectors. He said, yeah, sector 5's the pit lane. There's your fine. And he done us for pit lane, speed in the pit lane. And that sort of finished it off, really. I thought, oh, Jesus. So, yeah, it was, but mega. Then we went back the year after on the Honda and done okay on that.
So he's not going to fine for oil leaking
yeah,
in the thing as well?
Because I didn't want the bike to go rusty in the crate. So I thought, right, I know what I'll do. So we'd had the pit lane fine. And then we crammed everything in this container we'd made, and I got a brand new can of WD-40. Nice plug there. So, and then pierced the can, threw the can in just to let it explode in there and cover everything in WD-40 like a mist, so it didn't rust. But the can obviously emptied the gas and then just laid on its side and emptied all the WD-40 all over everything. And the transport company gave us a big fine for that as well. So, yeah, it was a dearer trip than it should have been, in all fairness.
And is there anything still on the bucket list for you, racing-wise?
I'd like to go back to Daytona again, which is, maybe, now, like, we've sort of discovered these super twins and bits and pieces, and that's real big in America, the Twins Cup and stuff. There's a few.
Really?
Yeah, it's really big in America, the Twins Cup. That's, last year, some of the races, that was the only full grid. So
In Motor America?
Yeah, Motor America. The Aprilia is sort of cleaning up there at the minute, but I don't think that's a real fair comparison, because all the top riders are on Aprilias. So,
Is that because of contingency money or something?
Yeah, but there is contingency money for Kawasaki. I've sort of looked into it, and the Kawasaki contingency money is quite good and everything else, but no one seems to run one over there. But the rules sort of work for it, and so it's definitely.
I wouldn't mind coming to America. I'm not doing BSB or anything, so
do it. Don't.
I'm there, my man. I'm there.
Just, you know what to do? I'm going to do it. That's what
I just need to be back for the TT. That's all. Honestly, I need to be back for. There's trees over there.
You need to try and pick. Like if they've got a double header or a couple of rounds close to nothing's close to each other over there. But you know what I mean? If you could do 2, that's even better, isn't it? If you're sending your own bike over there. But the thing with them classes, Twins Cup, Super Twins, you can't just go with Super Stock. You'd probably get away with going over there with your shock and fork kit and bits and pieces, and maybe building a bike over there, and then selling it as soon as you're finished. But with the Super Twins, they're so bespoke, aren't they? You'd have to
ship it out.
You'd have to ship it out. Yeah. So.
That would be mint.
So far we've had your American accent, we've had your Geordie accent. Is there any of our previous guests that you reckon you can do a good impersonation of?
Not on here. Probably most of them, as soon as I'm out of here. But,
Really?
Jack Kennedy.
Can do an Irish.
No, because I like Jack.
Turkey.
No, I like Jack, so I'm not doing it.
Yeah, no, Jack Kennedy. Yeah, no, we do a few accents, but yeah, no more.
They'll remain private. Well, we've got as this podcast's recorded, it'll be going out in 2 weeks' time, so it'll be a bit old news. But this weekend is the British Grand Prix, and I haven't seen the results for today, but obviously Jake Dixon's debuting in the Premier Class. And I'm actually, so we're at Anglesey. It's Saturday night now, but at 4 o'clock in the morning I'm heading over to Silverstone, so I'm looking forward to watching the Grand Prix. And what else have we got coming up? So next week's Snetterton BSB. Yeah. Week after we've got Silverstone, so I've got quite a few weeks.
Oh, I didn't realise that was a back-to-back.
What about yourself? Have you got the rest of the season? Is it a busy
schedule?
No.
We've finished, done Thundersport this year, done No Limits last year, and managed to win the championship there. And just when you're a privateer and doing everything yourself, the dates need to work. And with the BSB dates got moved, it meant No Limits suddenly ended up with like 3 race meetings within a month. So that was never going to happen. And then so just ended up coming to Thundersport and went to Snetterton for the first round and ended up having a good meeting there. And then before you know it, you think, I better do the second one then, and then the third, then the fourth. So, but now we're doing okay. So we'll end up doing the rest of the year here, and then have a think about finish off the Thundersport. Yeah, we're leading the championship. That's really close. The racing's been brilliant all year, so there's still all to play for. So hopefully we'll finish Thundersport off and then see what next year brings.
Yeah, fantastic. And you're 2 weeks on the bounce at Anglesey, aren't you?
I am. Yeah, I'm going to be sick of the place. So I'm obviously here racing this weekend on the ZX10, getting me head round that, and then I'm back here with CRMC on. Yeah, the following weekend on the 400 and the 500. Sorry, the 400. It's talking to you, that you've blown me head off. The 350 and the 500. And then after that, it's all a blur. I've got Spa Classic in September.
That'd be a good bucket list.
It's been on the bucket list for a long time.
What are you riding there?
RC30. RC30 with Alex Sinclair's my teammate. Ian Martin set up a team. Biker, the Biker magazine,
yeah.
the Biker team. So I'm riding for
Oh,
them,
mega.
which is out starting. So I'm trying to think 2 weeks from now, you'll be a bit pissed off that I'm just saying this right now. But if there's anyone who wants to obviously get on board with the team, please get in touch with Ian Martin. And we'll get the link thrown up when this podcast goes out and people can get in touch from there. But really looking forward to that. And then I've got Mete.
What's that, a road race or
Supermoto.
Oh, you are
event.
doing what?
I'm sorry, I don't know him well enough to say Ido.
Oh,
So
I'll call
Christian
it,
didn't. No. So Christian didn't.
The idiot.
He's done it loads.
He was real good around there. That I've seen some really good photos of it, and obviously the curbs are quite high. Some of the pictures of just amazing.
So, but it was actually, speaking of Christian, that's the thing where we get people on like yourself, and you sit down and you leave these interviews going, you know what, you need to get something.
What bike are you riding there?
It's a TM.
Is it? Yeah.
Not a traffic management bike. It's a.
No, I know.
I don't even know what
bike.
it is.
Yeah.
I had to Google it. So they've invited TT riders over, so we're going over and.
Who else is doing it?
David Todd, Connor Cummins.
Oh, David Todd's the man on one.
I'm going to T-bone him at the first corner because that's the only chance I've got. You know what I mean? Literally just going to go. I like Davey. Hello. That's it. I'm one of them and just move on.
I remember Ben Bostrom done real good there a few years ago, didn't he? He came over and done it, and mind you, he was good in America on Supermoto, wasn't he? And I know Ido's done well over there. So,
well, I've been getting trained up by Sugar Tits on the motocross side of it. So obviously a little bit of tarmac racing, meeting that. How hard can Supermoto be? We'll find out.
I wouldn't mind. I've never done that, but I wouldn't mind a bash. They do. There's a few tracks in this country which do a little bit of like on road and off. Like Rower's got a section where you start doing jumps and you go off the track and then back on it. And where else is there's Three Sisters? Is Pembrey? I don't know if Pembrey uses it for the bikes or if it's just rallycross. But
I think they have had meetings. The only problem you seem to have with Supermoto is the bikes aren't cheap, are they? And you're trying
cheap in
you're trying to get you're trying to get like road race money out of motocrossers, and that's never going to happen, is it? And I think that's why that's almost a bit like the dirt track in this country. Flat tracking is that's almost there's only enough people to run it as a club, so that you can call it the British Championships, call it what you want, but and that's the problem with it. And I think Supermoto personally is a bit like it. That's not.
I know.
Yeah. That's not. That's a lot of money, isn't it? You're still paying the same money for. I know Richard Blakeman pretty well, another good friend of Ido's, and he won the British Championship a few years back, and that bike he's on is like 25-30 grand's worth.
Wow.
So it's not. Like...
I was thinking about this the other day when we had an interview with Carlton Husband, who's doing the MX2 Championship this year. I'm just thinking, as a spectacle, British motocross is fantastic to watch.
Oh God,
but it just doesn't. There just seems to be like there's the Maxis British, there's the MX Championship, there's this, there's that. There's for someone that's like not really into it, it just seems a bit messy, and the only way you can watch it is on Facebook, and I just think. The spectacle's there, but if the whoever runs like the ACO or whoever runs it sort of put their head together and like in terms of the sponsorship and made it like like how BSB is like commercialised.
I think that's the problem, isn't it? We've been
imagine if motocross was on Eurosport every week and it all like say like terrestrial television. The actual spectacle's easily good enough for like people in the pub to watch it and be like really interested, but it just doesn't get it isn't promoted a little bit like, say 10 years ago UFC was like a bit of an underground, like nobody boxing was massive and there was like £100 million fights or whatever. UFC was almost like a little bit of like, do you know what I mean? Like sort of Mickey Mouse in comparison, where that's being promoted properly and it's overtook boxing. Now there's lots of motorsport. You mentioned Supermoto is a classic example. Motocross. Like, for example, when Speedway was massive? Yeah. It's still the same sport. It's still just as exciting. It just doesn't seem to be promoted as well. The spectacle's there and it is so exciting to watch.
It depends on where you're on, in my opinion, it depends on where you are in the world. Like Supercross in America
that's what I was then going to say.
And the outdoor. Overseas road racing.
Yeah, massive.
20 times over. Supercross is their sport.
But also, if you watch... Like, I'm a big fan of it, so I'll watch the outdoor motocross series at the minute.
The MX Nationals are unreal.
Honestly, but the whole show is really good, isn't it? The commentary, the way they build the track. And you watch not even a British motocross meet, but even you watch the Grand Prix, and that's almost a bit boring, isn't it? And we're so spoiled with, because obviously we're a bit biased, but British Superbikes is that bigger spectacle and big show, and like the build up with Matt Roberts and
But we get the Americans coming to us. That's why we're the hub, because it's the biggest show here.
And but getting back to like your supermoto, and like in America, obviously the flat track is massive, dirt track. But over here, there's a couple of really good tracks over here, dirt tracks, like Greenfield in Lincoln. George, who runs that, has done an amazing job. But that is literally the sport. We haven't got any dirt tracks. We're riding dirt track bikes on speedway tracks, and you need the sport to grow, and you need it as a proper championship. You can't be running it as a club. Just with some.
Yeah,
we raced it for enough, a few years, and it was absolutely brilliant. To ride was brilliant and everything, but really, the format needs to be different. And like you said, you need to get the sponsors behind it. And you need to get television behind it.
That's the thing.
Television's not that hard now. Even if you just, I don't watch that much telly. I spend more time watching YouTube. Yeah, well, you spend more time watching YouTube now, don't you?
Of course you do.
And I think that will be the future. But so there's definitely them avenues. But until something changes, I mean, supermoto, you never even see it in a magazine, do you? You never see a write up in motorcycle news. You never see nothing about it.
There used to be a super magazine.
Just UK Club Sport have started doing the UK Supermoto, but other than that, no.
But in France, it's huge.
Yeah,
it's absolutely massive in France.
Supermoto is.
Oh god, it's huge over there. Absolutely huge.
It is mad how in certain countries,
that's what I mean.
Speedway is massive in Poland, isn't it?
Yeah, and well, a lot of them Eastern European countries is big for the speedway world, and the boys earn good money, don't they, going over there? But
they are.
But that's a bit like I said, the flat track in America. You had Tim and Tom Neve probably could have gone over there and actually earned half decent money. Little Ollie Brindley went over there, and he was flying over there, so I don't know. But over here was just. Motorsport is not the chosen choice over here, is it anyway? And then you've got your British Superbike, and then after that is, football.
Yeah, shag bags.
I'm not saying anything.
Okay, one more question for the pair of you. Have you got anything off motorcycle on the bucket list? Well, you need to write one.
Yeah, so one of my first things that's on is
just give us one.
To skydive, not with someone on the back. I want. Well, I was talking to Lundy about this the other day. There's a guy that Lundy's mates with that we're getting it sorted, but in the next few weeks, to learn how to, I really want the feeling of going up in a plane and jumping out myself, flying through the air towards Earth, and then pulling the thing myself. And I just think
hoping
that
it
rush,
works.
Yeah,
by the way,
that rush would be unbelievable. So I'm definitely going to do that in the next few months.
You know that tag on your top. That's a reserve chute. The actual main chute comes from the bottom.
Right.
I'm just letting you know. Just
have you got anything done?
Jesus. I had one. No, God, no, I don't know.
This is reminding us.
I tell you what, timber sport. I would like to enter in timber sport. I would.
When they run up the trees. And
oh God,
or the axe.
Oh no, the axe with the chainmail. So I'd like to compete for Britain in timber sports just to see. Do you know how big that is? It is it's an industry sport, if you know what I mean. It's absolutely freakishly
you might be on
massive.
Something. I bet there's a grant for it or something for it, and no one else in the UK does it.
That's it. The axes are alone are £1,000. Really? I mean, you could cut paper with them. I mean, they're unreal.
That setup just reminds us so much of. Did you used to watch The Office?
Yeah.
Do you know when they're sat in the boardroom and they're talking about stuff they want to do, and then Gareth comes in late and they go, and it's like, "What's your dream?" And he's like, 2 sisters. Becca just totally gets the wrong end of this thing, and he starts explaining his dream, and it's just brilliant, awkward comedy at its best. What about yourself? Flip the question on you. Is anything off by 2 wheels?
Yeah, I'm gonna buy a house in France.
Right.
So
that was boring.
Somewhere.
I know it is, but literally, yeah, no.
Sort of Chamonix or somewhere for skiing or for.
No. Sort of southwest coast, somewhere I can finish. I would like to finish work Thursday, 3:00, and be able to be there by 3:00 in the morning. That's my goal.
Brilliant.
So but that is boring. But I just
no. It's brilliant. Boring, but brilliant.
But it is boring. But you can buy so much more land, can't you? So I can have a dirt track there.
I was just about to say, we're having a trials track, a flat track.
Definitely. Not trials. Definitely a dirt track, and a motocross track. And
I love it. After my sortie coming, I'll be the only one not getting invited. Remember that cheap shot you handed out, Chasin The Racin? You said it was boring. You can do one, so there you are.
No, it is boring, but yeah, that's
mate,
what happens when you get old, isn't it?
No, don't be daft. Everyone's got dreams, haven't they? For God's sake, I want
You want to ride on mower?
I'm desperate for one of them, mate.
Yeah,
That is
but
my
you can't
dream.
afford a garden big enough in this country. So
No way,
you need a
on God's
left-hand
gra-
drive French one.
I would come cut you. Put it this right. There you are. There's a deal, son. Right. I'll come to France and cut your grass
And race Supermoto, because
and
big
race
over there.
There we are. You see, there you are.
Nice.
And you can jump out of a plane and come see us. So they.
No, right, Daytona boys, are we doing it?
Yes.
100%.
When?
When's it on?
Are you going to commit?
When's it on?
Yeah, when? What time of the
I'll
year?
tell
is
you
it?
what, get Lee Hardy on another podcast and we'll get him to commit to it.
Peer pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
Well, we need a bike each, don't we? We'll work it out. I'm
I'm sure
up
we'll
for
sort
it.
it.
I'm up for it.
I'm sure
We're doing it.
I'm
Yeah,
up
let's
for it.
let's get it
Let's
sorted.
get it done.
Daytona Dreams, that's what we're calling it.
Fantastic.
No,
Yeah, I wanna
Gateshead.
do it. Gateshead. Usually we give up this opportunity at the end to plug sort of merchandise, social media. Have you got anything that you would like to plug?
I'm from Norfolk. We haven't even got social media. We've just got letters.
Do you know your business? Are you sorted for work, or is there any promotional?
No,
He's got a GoFundMe page for his French house.
We're really lucky. We work on the Norfolk Broads, and we're fully booked up for about a year, 18 months. So
Yeah, like don't call.
don't call. Yeah, don't call.
Do
I'm
not
sure
call.
you are on Instagram. I'm pretty sure I followed you.
Yeah,
on
yeah,
Instagram.
we're on Instagram and Facebook, and that's all. You know, a lot of the people on there are people you've met through racing through the years. You know, people who used to come just watch it, people who've crashed into, marshals, just anyone. So I do enjoy the social media side of it. To be honest, that's always nice to to
Keep in touch.
let know people what they're doing, and that's spot on.
Brilliant. Well, best of luck this weekend and for the rest of if you're riding the rest of the season. And thanks very much for taking the time to come on.
Honestly, thanks for having me, and thanks for the podcast.
Representing the listeners.
Representing the listeners, that's me. So, but no, it's brilliant. At least, like, through the lockdown and everything, it was tough, and at least no one done anything stupid, like when we weren't meant to be overwhelming the NHS, like backflipping dirt bikes and
Who would do something like that?
some plonker.
Oh, yeah. But the thing is, it was awesome. So that's the end of that.
I'm
That
joking.
bombshell.
Thanks for having me on, and thanks for letting me represent the listeners, the podcast listeners.
Brilliant. Thanks very much. Big thanks to our patrons and to our sponsor, Colchester Kawasaki. Catch up next week. And like I say, this has been recorded a few weeks thing, so that our next podcast will be catching up on like the last few
I know,
weeks.
in the future, you would have your house by now in France.
Not in 2 weeks.
And so on.
But we'll take care and catch up soon.
Hang on.
Go on.
Oh.
Who's your money on for the British Grand Prix tomorrow?
Did you see Marquez's crash the other day, by the way?
Come on. Who's
Hold
your
on,
money
Paul,
on?
Paul, who
I haven't seen any of qualifying.
Qualifying's
I'm
Paul.
gonna
Paul
go.
Espargaro.
Is it? We haven't seen it.
I think he's on. I think he's on Paul. Paul is on
Really?
Paul. Riding graphics. So he's like shit on the pace. Really is. He's put on. I don't know.
Gonna go.
Where's Alex Rins?
I was gonna say Rins
I've
is
no
usually
idea. I haven't
stronger
seen
on
it. It's
silver.
literally he's on Paul. Like,
Should we go blind? Who's the winner?
I'm gonna go.
I'm going Zarco.
Oh, good call.
Where do you think Cal Crutchell's going to finish?
I'm gonna say Mia. Just to throw
Good
that one in.
call.
Oh, Brad Binder, Big Balls Binder.
Big
I'm a
Balls
big
Binder.
fan of Big Balls Binder.
Crutchlow was in FP1. He was 1 second off the pace. He was quite far. He was
Where do you think he's
9
gonna finish?
9/10 out of Rossi, I think.
He's obviously class, isn't he? So he's been off the bike a while. So I think he's going to finish 12th.
Yeah, top. If he can get in the
12.
top 10, that'd be a hell of a result.
8th.
8th.
I'm going 8th. I want him. I want an 8th. I'm feeling 8th.
People will
Let's
be
go
listening to
8th.
this like 2 weeks after the Grand Prix.
God,
They'll be-
idiots.
I don't know. Right. Well, yeah, brilliant. Thanks so much, and we'll catch up sometime soon. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks a lot, boys.
Cheers, mate.
Click, buy, deliver. With remote purchasing from the 2-time Motorcycle News Dealer of the Year, Colchester Kawasaki. Proud sponsors of Chasin The Racin.